Hi guys, my name is Nick Broughton and I'm a Randomfish. Hit that subscribe button and let's all be random fishes together, shall we? So, yeah, the fish fingers and custard thing, I'm sorry. That will happen. It just isn't happening this video. I thought about it and in complete honesty, I've just decided against it for now. I'll do it again, I'm just not going to do it this time round. And I did put up a post on my Facebook page talking about Black Suit Spider-Man. Again, kind of decided against it, not because I don't want to talk about it, but in all complete honesty, two movies really have struck up anything with me that can really be discussing the Black Suit Spider-Man stories, and that's either the original 1994 cartoon series or Spider-Man 3. And those are the only two I really feel like I can actually talk about in any way possible and review. So I figured, what else can I look at? I mean, I'll be honest, throughout this whole coronavirus scare that we've all been having, we're all stuck indoors. And honestly, watching Netflix is actually kind of sweet for me. And I guess now that everyone else is doing it, it's given me a chance to look into other stuff. Stuff that I normally wouldn't focus so much on. And in complete honesty, people are actually giving me good ideas of what to watch. But at least when I'm not doing other things. And one of the things that I ran into very interestingly was a film called Captain Fantastic. Played by Aragorn, son of Arathorn. I know the actor has a real name and I apologize to him. I doubt he'll ever see this video, but I do apologize now. But you will never have your real name with me. You will always be Aragorn to me. It just isn't going to happen any other way around. So, Captain Fantastic in this film is is the father of a group of kids and they all live out in the wild. They kill animals for food. They climb up the side of cliffs for exercise, and at night time they sit around a campfire, play guitars, and discuss nihilism, various religious practices, various political ideologies, just a little bit of everything. There's a 7-year-old discussing political ideology, like talking about the political ideology of people like Stalin or Rasputin or something, you know. It's a combination of everything I kind of would have loved to have done as a child if I'd had the intelligence, and everything I never want a child to have to go through if they can help it, unless they have a really strong mind. And in complete honesty, these kids do have very strong minds, and it's kind of cool to see. The beginning of the movie is sort of them going through a typical day, and we then get the big bombshell that Captain Fantastic's wife has died. And she died in hospital, and there was something wrong with her. Her parents don't want him at the funeral, because apparently he ruined her life. The kids, of course, don't want to not go to the funeral to see their mum and to say goodbye. Also, the other major thing is that their parents are burying her at a church, and her apparent final wish was to be cremated. Now, I'm not really going to get into the whole last wishes, people of sound mind and all this sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. As far as I'm concerned, what you write down, if the person that you're with at the time thinks you're of sound mind, it's fine. Not a problem. However, the parents just don't. They say that, you know, she was nothing like the guy that Captain Fantastic described because she wasn't in the right state of mind, I guess, or something to that effect. The kids convince him that they want to go to the funeral, and so they all go. They all climb aboard this bus and they all drive off. They eventually come across the sister, I believe, either Captain Fantastic's sister or his wife's sister, one way or the other. And there's a little bit of conflict between the kids who are raised out in the wilderness against the kids who are raised in basic home settings. I don't want to say normal settings because I hate that word. It's basically, you know, camping kids meet you know, home-raised kids. It's a little weird. Throughout the film, once they get to the funeral anyway, and even beyond that, there's this dissent amongst the troops. Because the kids are all asking about why their mum died. And he says that it's because of her, you know, there was a disease that she had and everything else and blah, 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 blah. And there's one of the kids who thinks he knows something or believes that he knows something that makes him dislike their dad more ever since he found out that his mum died. The oldest wants to go away to big universities to study and to have a normal life, but he knows that his dad will never go for it. There's the daughters who just, you know, who don't really want to always be going off killing things, but the dad is insistent that they kill to survive because living off the land is better than indulging in capitalism. It's all sorts of stuff like that, and it's all very much a butting heads kind of issue, if you will, butting heads. So they go to the funeral, and he tries to upstage the dad. He tries to sort of make his presence known, and they're thrown out, and the grandparents end up being approached by one of his kids, the one who has the secret, and he wants to go live with them. Now, Captain Fantastic and his kids don't want that to happen. So Aragorn, son of Arathorn, sends his own little Fellowship of the Ring to go out and to try and bring him back, to extract him from the house. And one of the kids has a massive accident, and he realizes just kind of how close it would have been to her actually dying, to the point where he says, everyone go live with your grandparents. I'm clearly a threat to you, like I was a threat to your mother. She didn't die of natural causes in the hospital. She died because she killed herself. I'm the reason for that. The kid's screaming at him saying, I hate you, you're the reason mum's dead, blah, blah, blah. And all this sort of thing. And they all attempt to go off in their separate ways. He has this massive beard throughout the film, by the way. It's great. It's like proper Bear Grylls style, massive beard. It's nice. It's almost Brian Blessed worthy, you know. But after he's done that, the kids then find him and say, we still want to go through with what Mum actually wanted. We don't want to bury it, we want to cremate it. So, in possibly one of the most... I want to stress here, this is done with love. This is not something that is... I cannot condone that kind of action, but at the same time, it's in the plot of the film, so I have to say it. They dig their mum up, and they take her to the beach, where they set her body on fire, and they dance around, and they sing songs. Now, I want this on record on this video right now. I do not at any point have a problem with respecting someone's wishes and trying to reverse a decision and going for that sort of thing. Also, if you are of the persuasion where you want to set someone on fire on the beach and then dance around and sing songs, halle flippin' hallelujah to you. Because as far as I'm concerned, everyone has their own thing. The thing that I'm slightly uncomfortable with while I was watching this film was digging her up. Like, I don't know why, but that to me is just a little bit like, okay, whatever. Nah. But again, that's just me. It might have something to do with this whole thing. I don't like the idea of that sort of thing being done. But hey, it made the film interesting. It was kind of cool to see them all working as a team doing this. And I'll be honest, the ending, the scene where they're all dancing around and playing songs on the guitar and having a laugh, it's nice, it's heartwarming, it's a beautiful thing. And it's not something that I ultimately I did enjoy watching. The final scene, however, is the oldest son going off to go travelling, and the kids and the dad going off to travel in a different direction because he wants to go off and do his own thing before he goes to university and blah blah blah. And that's all lovely jubbly. And that's really how the film ends. Now, that is a very overly used plot. Like, that's not a plot that I'm going into too much detail with, except for the end. But honestly, this film very much created this idea in my head where it's this idea of what you think is right for your kids and what actually is right for your kids. And that's kind of one of the biggest worries that someone will have as a parent. And so, when I was being raised to believe the things that my parents believed. It was more about that than anything else. You know, it was taught about respect and and all that sort of thing, but I wasn't pressurized into doing something that I wasn't ready for. And you know, for that reason, I love my parents. I love the way I was raised. This film has a guy who has very clearly rejected average American society. This film is not British by any stretch of the imagination. If it was, there'd be a lot more apologizing and a lot more. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't quite know exactly what would be going on, but it seems like it would be that kind of thing. But here's the thing, and this is the thing that really amuses me. It's the fact that this guy very much says that he wants his kids to have a homeschooled education, one that is filled with intrigue, one that is filled with philosophy, one that is filled with strong training, the ability to survive out in the world, as well as to completely disregard what the outside world considers common, what the outside world considers normal, and to basically reject the points of traditional American society. And in complete honesty, he had a good idea, and it's almost kind of sad to see someone have those kind of good intentions, yet he goes too far with them. And that's a lovely message for the film. If you push too far with if you push your own beliefs too far on your own children, eventually they will hit you back, and they will strike back. And that is shown throughout the kids and throughout the film. That one kid who knew the secret about him and their mum having that conversation, having a fight, and this whole thing about her dying. He feels like it's the guy's fault, and his dad's training of him has allowed him to sort of maintain his own individual voice. But he doesn't feel like he can exercise his voice much because his dad is so caught up in his own ways that no one will ever reach him. He will never hear anything else. That to me is a great story because it means that the kids and other people from a society that he has fundamentally rejected. Bear in mind, his wife, their mother, also rejected that world. They both did. And it's this thing where I know that good can come from rejecting certain things. That you have to reject certain ideologies in your life. Otherwise, if you do, you don't really belong to anything. You have to choose an ideology and stick with it. That's how this works. But she rejected her parents' own philosophies of life and went off, and she became a Buddhist, I believe. At least I think that's what I believe that's what they became. They became Buddhists out in the world. And she rejected her parents, and she goes off with this guy that her father, at least, I mean, the mother definitely doesn't have as much of an issue, but her dad definitely has this fundamental issue with him, and he doesn't like him. Does not like him at all. And it's almost scary in a really bizarre way, because I didn't want him to lose his kids, but at the same time, it's this thing in the back of my head where it's going, yeah, but he's clearly not good for them, because if he was, then the parents would not have had as much of an issue with him, not only marrying their daughter, but also, coming back for the funeral. And in complete honesty, people, I mean, this film, it invokes a lot of questions. It invokes a lot of ideas. And it's very fun. And honestly, it's a film that I don't believe many people have ever recommended to me to watch. And it's not something that people honestly... I know it's a film that was very... You know, that's been recently made, at least. But it is a film that is maybe not overly unique, but does seem to have a little bit more of a unique voice. And that's something you don't see very much. At least not in this world, in this arena, if you will. So, with that in mind, I say go watch Captain Fantastic. Either on Netflix or, you know, when this thing is lifted. If you have a DVD copy of it, I recommend you go watch it. If not, you're going to have to wait until you can actually buy one, but still. But, in complete honesty, people, it's kind of fun. And it's a lot of fun to see these things. But in complete honesty, ladies and gentlemen, Randomfish out. My little fishes. Nah.